Peace and Black Power, family. Welcome to another Sarnetta TV House of Consciousness production. As you can see, we got the lovely Zaza Ali and the strong, mighty soldier, Professor Griff, who has been doing this work for years, family. So, you know, this is a legend in itself. I'm just so happy that he is able to take the time. Both of these people right here are able to take the time out of their busy schedule and come and give Brother Sarnetta a visit. This is a blessing. First, I want to have a question for you, my brother Griff. How did you luck up and get this beautiful goddess by your side? And what I'm saying beautiful is that the knowledge. You know, when you see a woman with knowledge and information, that right there just make the beauty even 10 times greater. How did you luck up, brother, and get a queen like that by your side?
Well, greetings first of all. Right. But first of all, greetings to the family and greetings to everyone that will be watching this. And we just want to let everybody know, just watch this with your third eye. Watch this from a soul perspective instead of wearing your sensitivity on your sleeve. But to answer your question directly, you know, I can honestly say that all of us, Sarnetta, including the Sarnettas of the world, long to have that balance, long to have someone that can not only that you can make a family with and create a family with, but someone that can speak up, speak out, someone that can reflect certain aspects of the feminine aspects of man that we can't necessarily do, because a lot of times we too afraid because someone might look at us like we're being too feminine. You understand what I'm saying? And the whole idea of, not the idea, but meeting Zaza and doing the work, I think it was something that was destined to happen anyway. I think both of us was at the right place at the right time, spiritually, instead of just physically where we met. You understand what I'm saying? So I think a lot of times we need to understand it when we have to do soul work. We came together because I think I was interested in the writings that she was putting out, the whole idea of what was coming from her mind at the particular time, and even used some of her work in my early, I think it was my latter book, Analytics. And then I used some of her work in the Acapella Revolution. But I think we all know, looking forward, as we are taught to do by our ancestors, this meeting, as far as our paths coming together and our paths crossing, was bound to happen anyway. And trust and believe, Sarnetta, I'm in the same chorus you are. You probably just singing a different note. Yes, I'm looking from the depth and the sincerity and the I'm trying to find the word. You know, the substantive aspect of Zaza, and not the fact that she had wavy hair. You understand what I'm saying? That's a beautiful thing also, and the fact that she's taller than me. Yeah, and I always call her my big sister simply because when I say that to her, I know a lot of times people hear me like, okay, wait a minute, you got to be at least 15 years older than her. But when I say my big sister, as far as her growing in leaps and bounds and some of the things I hear her saying, you know, I got to secretly take notes without her watching, you understand what I'm saying, to make sure my stuff is correct. And a lot of times, we don't even want the woman to outshine us. I'm in one of those positions, rare positions, that I don't mind. It's a beautiful thing to know that I have a woman by my side that can definitely outshine me, and I can kind of like take the back seat and watch her do her thing, as I often do. That's why creating the platform for the sister to step up and speak out is not an issue with me. The problem I have, Sarnetta, is an issue with a lot of other men that want to come in and either come between us or say some things on the periphery with their cheerleading skirt on and want to dictate Zaza's position in this particular situation and relationship that we have. You understand what I'm saying? Which a lot of people don't understand it. They want to relegate us to the girlfriend and boyfriend thing. No, stop that, man. This is a soul work we're doing. And if you don't understand it from a soul perspective, then come on, man. Please, just stop the madness. But I'm just saying, from the depths of in me wrestling with this English language, I really appreciate the sister. And at this point in my life, at 54 years old, I would have it no other way. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some trials and tribulations. We do butt heads. There's some Right, because you know you can't put this much warrior spirit in the same room on the same mic at the same time and it not cause some kind of friction. But we have to be smart enough and intelligent enough and keep positive people around us, so that we can at least see ourselves through.
Let me ask Sister Zaza, Zaza Ali, what is it like working with Professor Griff? And what made you say, damn, this brother's interested?
Well, first of all, everywhere we go, people know who he is. It's not a situation of because I'm here, I'm somehow being thrust into the spotlight in front of him. No, this man is an established, you know what I'm saying, powerhouse. So everywhere we go, whether we're in the streets, whether we're in the restaurants, whether we're at events, our people love him. So, it's not a question of me trying to outshine him or, just that idea that brothers have an issue with this brother thrusting me out into the forefront shows and proves that a lot of our brothers are still working with the white man's mind. We talk matriarchy. We talk ma'at. We talk about the black woman as God. We talk about queen, earth, goddess, all this and all of that. But then you want to relegate the woman to the back seat, which is why our communities are in the situation that they're in right now. But this brother, to me, especially when it comes to teaching our young people, has created an academic, what's the word I could use? He's found a way to use hip hop and to use music and morph that into knowledge of self and morph that into history and morph that into cultural understanding. That in itself is a beautiful thing because, we go to lectures all the time. I watch the debates, all of the different things online. It's hard to get the roughnecks on the block to come in a room and actually want to hear you speak. That's who comes to hear him when he speaks. That's who's calling him. That's who's writing him online. So you can say what you want to say about him, but when he speaks, young people listen, and those are the ones who are going to be able to get us out of this situation that we're in. So I think people pigeonhole him just in this whole Illuminati thing and hip hop and don't understand that this brother is a serious student and a serious scholar and a historian in his own right. So all of those things together, meshed together, is what makes our people attracted to him. Everywhere we go, people come up to him and tell him how he changed their life, something he said, something he did, his work, how impactful it was on them and how it changed their life. The proof is in the pudding. You can tell a tree by the fruit it bears. So when you have people coming up to you and giving you those type of testimonies, and he doesn't wear it on his sleeve, he's not, arrogant and egotistical like, unfortunately, some of our brothers are today. He's just doing the work. Slowly but surely, whether it's 3 people in the room or whether it's 1,000 people in the room, he's still going to be the same person.
I remember you, Sister Zaza Ali. 8 years ago, 7 years ago, 9 years ago, when I first came on YouTube, you used to bang hard on me. You used to bang hard on me. What is the difference? Because I learned my militant stuff from watching Professor Griff, walking with Dr. Khalid Muhammad. This brother is more militant than I could ever be right now. And when I talk about the white man, believe me, I go in hard on the white man. But I learned a lot of my militant stuff from watching this brother when I was coming up. And Dr. Khalid Abdul Muhammad. Why you ain't bang on Griff?
Actually, I probably did bang on Griff once upon a time. But no, me and you, first of all, it wasn't all just banging. We had a cool relationship, even though it was just internet-based as far as, some of the stuff that happened.
Disrespectful to you, did I?
No. Never like that. And I never disrespected you.
Right.
I just was, I'm a student of the teachings of Elijah Muhammad.
Right.
And, sometimes I would see things online and sometimes, probably provoked on your end, whether you meant to or not. Right. And it creates certain conversations and people get to banging on Elijah Muhammad and the teachings of Elijah Muhammad. And I'm like, hold on, wait a minute. So that's what the gist.
I think that's where
that's what the gist of it was. And it wouldn't necessarily be you saying it. It would be the environment and some of the things, questions, or situations that you would have that would cultivate that type of energy. So it was just that. But I've obviously I was tuned into what you were doing to even be having that conversation. I used to watch your stuff faithfully, debates, you on the block talking to the brothers and sisters, banging on the white man. So I knew that's what you were in your fullness. But we got to sharpen each other. We got to keep each other tight, and that's what it was about.
I think in Zaza doing her work, a lot of times the initial meeting with a lot of the people that she interacted with was online. The initial meeting with her and I online started out as a beautiful thing until, like a lot of us do, pastor, reverend, whoever, I was just one of those kind of individuals, and this is why I'm taking the position that I'm taking on the situation that we need to talk about. I'm not going to let anybody do it. I don't care if it's Zaza or anybody else. If you see me doing a certain work, do not come on criticizing, saying whatever, because I don't take that well. You could call me, we could talk. Yo, what's up with so-and-so and so-and-so? Then I'll explain it to you. And maybe you'll get a better picture as to what I'm doing. At that particular time, I was trying to save somebody's life. You understand what I'm saying? And it was something that a lot of people probably went through in their own lives. Maybe it was Zaza with the issue with her complexion and the texture of hair and how people still wrapped up into the whole Willie Lynch thing. You understand what I'm saying? But each of us have our own certain things. But when you're talking about being looked at and being pulled on from 5 or 6 different directions, and then having this desire like a lot of black men that are conscious do, we've been ready to go to war. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of us have that trapped in us. And so what do you do with that? So you have to look at different variables. And I want to talk about that when we talk about Pastor Reverend so-and-so, because I don't want people to be shocked at the position that I'm taking. Do you understand what I'm saying? Hold on. But people are shocked. People are shocked, including Zaza was probably shocked at the position I took against her at that particular time because no one knew what I was doing. If you don't know what I'm doing, it's best for you to knock on the door first, get my attention, call me or something, and then I can explain it to you. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I'm sure in my explanation, it'll all make sense. But wait a minute. It ain't going to make sense to the general population right now because the general population have to study to even catch up with some of these lessons. Zaza made a statement. And I thought about all the brothers, including the Sarnettas of the world, that admire the black woman, be it physically, mentally, spiritually. We cannot take the leadership position, right, if we can't get past the lower chakras. I said that in a nice, pleasant way.
He remixed it.
How should I have said that?
I said men who cannot control their lower desires cannot be trusted in positions of leadership.
That goes for the woman also.
That takes a lot of work, though.
That take a whole lot of work, but it takes balance. And Zaza said it earlier, the same brothers that preach this and talk this ma'at stuff, when they see the balance here, because I am a little bit more smoother now than I was before. Because
She done calmed you down.
because no, she know that because we bumped heads.
Y'all good on the drink?
No, we good. We bumped heads, and the sword was out. You understand what I'm saying? Because at that particular time, it's like I'm seeing us being attacked on all fronts. And like a lot of brothers, I was one of them brothers that was sitting back watching how black women, how they maneuver and take the side of the white boy. And I said, wait a minute. But I didn't say anything. Because at the same time, I knew I had little nieces, cousins, friends, and other people that I knew I was working with trying to save. Do you understand? On a personal level. Do you understand what I'm saying? And as Zaza can tell you, I can tell you, Facebook is not my battleground. That's not my field. That's not the area. That's not where I'm at. You understand what I'm saying? I grew up at a time where you had to be out in the street, in the people's face. You understand what I'm saying? Working with the knuckleheads and doing what we need to do. That whole Facebook, internet thing, that's really something new to me. I'm not going to be on there all day being real articulate and eloquent and all that. I'm not doing all of that. Plain and simple. And my words are sharp, short, rugged, right to the point. You understand what I'm saying? I think I'm at the point now, I don't even go up there. Every now and then I might put a flyer up or something. But other than that, I don't do that. But I'm saying all that to say this. In the face, shouldn't be saying this online, but we are. In the face of our open enemy, we have to show a united front at all times, especially when young people are watching. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, if we having a disagreement with one another about personal stuff, we don't take that and have that spill over into the lecture and we arguing in front of people. No family member does that. No family members do that. And I think that's very important. And I think we need to learn some life lessons, Sonetta, from the initial meetings with a powerful sister like this, because I'm saying to you, that need to happen. Because you probably developed a level of respect for her. That need to happen between Zaza and myself. You understand what I'm saying?
But let's talk about Eric Gardner. Let's talk about the Mike Brown situation. Sister Zaza, what is it going to take for us to get this back, to stop this police brutality? What are some of the steps we need to take, sister?
Well, it's certainly not going to be marching and protesting and dying in the streets. Let me be clear. Die-ins equate to death. I'm going to say that again. Die-ins equate to death. We have so trivialized ourselves and our lives that we are literally walking around now protesting, asking a system that is beyond giving us justice and was not set up to give us justice. Right. We have our hands up now asking for justice. So, first of all, put your damn hands down. Get up off the ground. We've been laying down for too long. Stand up like men and women. I'm going to show some images of some young children in Ferguson, Missouri, laid out on the ground with their hands up. Next to a sign saying hands up, don't shoot. You know how weak and pathetic we look to the world? I mean, we went to see Francis Cress Welsing the other night. And Brother Rich had asked us previously on the interview about how we felt about white people and all these different people joining our protest march, what have you, and coming up and standing up for police brutality. Francis Cress Welsing said, "Be mindful anytime a Greek comes bearing gifts." We need to be extremely careful, and I'm quoting her again, about who we allow to join this movement, because as strong as we can be as one powerful black fist, when we start diluting it and adding all these different entities into it, that fist is going to weaken and eventually open up to where we start accepting anything again. So the first thing we need to do is come in the house with just us and close the door and start having a real conversation. Because like Ava Muhammad always says, it's not the laws, it's the mind that created the laws. We have to deal with the fact that racism, white supremacy is never going to allow the system, the justice system, to give us justice. And when you have, Griff said Darren Wilson was some, corn chucking, big, corny, cornball, doofus white boy from the South. He ain't nobody, but this dude's a millionaire now. So it's not just the fact that a white boy killed a black man, a young black male, and continue to kill black males. It's the system, all of these little, unknown people who donated all of this money to him, hundreds of thousands of dollars for killing a black man. It's the coroner and the police officers and all of the different people who gathered around him, whether he was guilty or not, to protect him. It's the whole system. It's the judge. It's the stenographer. It's the person who's typing the notes. It's the person who cut his body open. It's the whole entire system. We need to understand that. And from that perspective, start talking about separation. I'm not talking about getting on a boat and going to South America or to Africa right now. We're not in a position fundamentally to do that. I'm talking about mentally and spiritually and emotionally separating ourselves from this system. I'm talking about either buying black or becoming a vendor where you can provide the things that our people need. And in places like New York and predominantly black areas, Decatur and stuff like that, you can find stores where you can go that's black owned, and you can get your tissue and your toilet paper and your socks and all of that, Pampers and whatnot. But a lot of our people live in areas like the Bay Area, California, where black people have systematically been moved out, who don't have that. So it's changing our mind. I heard Minister Inky say on your thing he did the other day about Ray Hagans and the whole Mike Brown situation. He said it's not even about having a gun. It's about this and about this. So for us, our goal, as well as you in the work that you do, is to raise the conscious level of our people. Everybody keeps saying it's about money. It's about money. Well, we spend $1.3 trillion a year. So we have the money. We need to focus our minds and our energy towards raising the level, the mentality of our people to where we can understand we're not going to march this away. We are not going to protest to a point where we are going to appeal to the higher nature of these people. It's not going to happen. Now, you say, oh, we got the white liberals, progressives now who are with us. You know, I saw Asians, Latinos, whatever. Okay, so what about when we tell them that we are not with homosexuality? We don't do that. That's going to cut that number in half. We don't do feminism. There's the black feminist movement is extremely is contrary to building a nation. What about when we start talking about the school system? All of the little things that these, 90 some odd % of single white females, or white females, excuse me, are doing to our daughters and our sons every day in the school system. What about when we start talking about reparations? About the fact that white privilege and entitlement right now is predicated on 400 plus years of slavery. Then let's see how many of those people are still with us. So the first thing we need to do is come in house. And I said this in Ferguson after 2-3 weeks of marching and protesting and going up against the military, not the police, but the military. We need to wait till the cameras leave, close the doors, and come inside and start strategizing. Brothers need to start holding down their communities, protecting these young people. And it's going to have to get to a point where instead of holding the camera to get the beating on film, somebody going to have to go upside one of these police officers' heads. And I said that, and I say that as a mother who asked the audience, if you see a police officer, I'm not advocating, going against police and all of that type of stuff. Don't try to misdirect my words. But what I'm saying is the lives of our children have to become more important than the lives of our own. And I'll end with this. What was her name? Iyanla Van Zandt said, how many of the elders are willing to stand out between the National Guard and our young people? How many of us are ready to stand out in the middle of the military in our communities because they're coming, are willing to take that stand opposed to letting our children keep dying?
What did Minister Paul Scott say in reference to having classes in the hood and how many people,
Yeah, have actually been to the hood opposed to...
Well, Minister Paul Scott said, those that keep criticizing young people because young people are out there letting this tension out, letting their frustration out. How many of them same people that criticize have ever been to the hood to have a political education class to educate young people and politicize young people? They don't do that. They sit back in their comfortable homes and they watch TV and they criticize. You understand what I'm saying?
Or black on black crime. Let me just say this real quick. What about black on black crime? Yeah, what about it? What were you doing before Mike Brown got killed about black on black crime? It's not good enough for you to just keep coming to the table and trying to divert the conversation when our children are getting killed if you're not doing anything about it.
I think that makes a lot of sense in the entire scheme of things, simply because although we want to think when we start strategizing, we want to write those people that are sitting back doing the blogs and criticizing behind their computers. We want to write them in as the number that's going to be on our side. But we got to rethink this thing, Sonetta. Them people may not even be on our side. You understand what I'm saying? Like she just said, the homosexual may not be on us, the black one. They may not be on our side. The intellectual may not be on our side, man. Did you see the brothers and sisters in D.C. the other day? 300 of them walked off the job. Hands up. The Congress people and the assistants and the secretaries. And
Who do you think is telling them to do that?
but you see
That
that,
leadership that they follow.
I think that's what Zaza's gonna dive into it in her slide presentation, simply because we have to understand who is setting this kind of protest in motion. We don't do the lay-in and die-in stuff. We don't do that. That's somebody else dictating to us what to do. Francis Cresswell made a very, very beautiful point about the signs. In the beginning, we had magic marker crayon signs that you see our brothers and sisters holding up. Soon as you start seeing the well-made Kinko's signs from from Staples and all this kind of other stuff, the expensive waterproof Velcro stickers and all that kind of stuff, then you know them other people have joined our movement to redirect it. We know that, man.
And before I ask you this question, first, brother, I want to say that we as men, we have to commend our brother, Professor Griff. And what I mean by that is he really believed in that teaching that the woman is the first teacher. You see, not too many men in our so-called conscious community are willing to step back and put their woman out front and let her go ahead out there and teach. And I commend you for that, brother. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they want that light. They don't want to step back. They don't want to get behind the woman. And I commend you for that. That's beautiful.
He's not getting behind me.
Right.
He's side by side.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I
So I
say,
know what you're saying.
yes.
We know what you're saying, but
Yeah.
that has to be demonstrated to men. That she's not walking behind me. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
The whole when we see these, all right, when we see these, what do you call them? When we see glyphs on the pyramid text, on the walls of the pyramids, when we see the whole idea and we look at balance, the ma'at, the scales of balance being balanced, I think a lot of religions, I'm not sure how the Christians do it, but I know Muslims, women got to walk X amount of feet behind the male. Praying, not praying in the mosque, praying in certain. Yeah. But I think a lot of times, Sanetta, we'd rather look at a glyph of Ma'at and the scales of justice and how they balance out 20,000 years ago on the walls of the pyramid text. We'd rather look at that as opposed to look at a real black man and woman side by side offering the balance. You understand what I'm saying? So while Sanetta's taking care of his little business, we're going to talk about the little afro he got there. Yeah, no, we got you. All right.
Then pass it to Professor Griff.
Well, first of all, this whole idea of even introducing him being high into the conversation is irrelevant because the majority of states in this country have now legalized marijuana. So put that to rest. That's number one. Number two, this whole idea of Mike Brown being wrong, this bully, Pharrell Williams said, why aren't we talking about the bullyish character? And that's what Ray Hagans was alluding to. These foreigners come in our communities and set up shop and disrespect our people every day. He probably needed to get slapped up a little bit. And I'm not, justifying what Mike Brown did, but growing up in East Oakland and seeing how these Arabs and foreigners were in our communities having sex with our daughters for money, disrespecting our people, selling pork and alcohol and all this madness in our stores. Let's talk about the real bully if we're going to have that real conversation. Otherwise, Pharrell, you need to just be quiet. So we've seen these people in our communities disrespecting us. We don't know what the nature of the relationship between Mike Brown and this dude was. So let's put that on the back burner. What Ray Hagan said, especially after the brother came and questioned him at the meeting the following day, and he said we can create another. I can come back and talk about Mike Brown and bring the forensic files to prove the point. He said forensic files at the end of the interaction between them. He said I can bring back the forensic files and we can have a real discussion. To us in the black community, just because you say you got police evidence, that don't mean nothing. You know how many brothers and sisters that I know that got set up got crack planted on them that got beat and brutalized, and then they turned around and used blood spatter and used all of the different entities that go into the system to make sure that they got justice on their end and not on our end. So just because you come talking about, you know, the evidence, quote unquote, that don't hold a lot of weight with us. That's number one. Number two, and Minister Inky made a great point about the image of Mike Brown with the arms down versus the image up, and you would have been able to see that the bullet holes were underneath the arms. Why is, you know, Ray Higgins is supposed to be, okay, he got one foot in the police department, but also aren't you supposed to be a figurehead in the black community? And I say this, you know, this whole situation is real sticky because I met the brother. We sat down and broke bread with him. He at the time, I was extremely honored. I've studied his work for a long time. But when he did that drew a line, because he was in the room with young people, talking to them, trying to persuade them that what their minds and their spirits and their beings actually saw, that they were wrong, that they were lying. That the young brothers and sisters, 4 or 5 different witnesses who were there and saw the whole thing, he called all of them liars in the name of evidence. I was there. No, you weren't there. Right. You weren't there. So stop saying that. So you have to excuse my passion, right, brother, because this is a very tough situation with young brothers being killed every day on the street and then not even offering the balance. Okay, this is what they said. Here's my message to the young brothers in the room. They are out to get you. Tamir Rice just got killed. John Crawford, you know, Ezell Ford, all these different names. Let's not pretend like there's not a war on black men. This particular case, okay, I may feel this way about it because I'm closely connected. But here's what's happening on the other end of the spectrum. You speaking for 5-0. That's what we call the police in California. Right.
No, we call them here 502.
You're not speaking for our people. So it rubbed me all the wrong way. And I think I said it drew a fine line. I think he's drawing a line in the sand. And this is why I say, and we say, some of these elders versus elders, depending on which category you want to put them in, they don't speak for us. And I'm talking to the young people right now who are listening to this, the brothers who, you know, walking up and down the block who get harassed every day. He don't speak for us. When you come and sit in a room with us, we're going to talk to you in a different type of way because we understand the war that's being waged on you. And evidence and all of that type of stuff, that you can't put that in front of. He made it seem like, you know, the young brother, was his name Dorian? The brother who was out in the forefront the whole time. I mean, he just disrespected that brother and spit in his face from what he went through. And I wasn't feeling that at all. I think Ray Higgins needs to be, and I'm speaking to him as an elder, extremely careful about how he handles this right now because our young people are ready to explode. Which side are you going to be on when it happens?
Good question. Let's hear what Professor Griff
Well, I think number one, and let me say this as non-emotional as I could say it, 4 or 5 times, I think the first time I felt exactly like the average person felt when they first watched it. It's like, what? Nah, this brother did not just say that. Let me watch this again. And then I think by the 3rd or 4th time, I just said to myself, there's just some things there and then after watching it 3 or 4 times, getting the second video from the brother the next day, I just said to myself, now wait a minute, man. First of all, there's a fine line that he's drawing between him, which he kept referring to as we, and us. What I would want to do, respectfully, is not jump the gun, don't take sides. People say, well, what do you mean jump the gun? He already laid it out. You heard it. You heard it on the tape for yourself. I says, no, I did what any brother would do that know history. What happened when brothers and sisters we was experiencing stop and frisk right outside here? Okay, but where was Ray Hagan? Where was all these other people? Why can't we take that and say, okay, that's where we should draw the line, brother. This is Nazi Germany out here. It's almost like Nazi Germany. They run up on you, where's your papers? And if you don't have papers, send you to the concentration camp. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay, what happens when the Black Panthers Party headquarters was raided? Apartment complexes was raided. Apartment buildings was raided. Offices and meetings was busted up and raided. And people shot down and wrongfully accused. Should we have gotten the transcript then? Should we have gotten the forensic files then? We could go on Emmett Till and we could work our way through history. We could go through the history of black men being shot, in which they had the forensic evidence, knowing that the crackers was guilty. So should we use that same language? We then, I want to say this to my good brother Reagan, all due respect. What we should put in place is exactly what me and a few other people were talking about. It should be a level of self-respect. But the Ray Hagans of the world, like the Professor Griffs and Sarnettas of the world, we got to think 3 times before we make statements like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I was sitting in a room full of young people, how do you think that conversation would have went? It would have been borderline. It would have been borderline. Like, we got to get this dude off the street. We have to be wise today. Do you understand what I'm saying? Listen, I went through the police academy. I was a 95 Bravo. I was in the military as a military police. I would never, ever talk about we and take the side of the police again. That only happens when you take that oath. It only happens when you swear allegiance. It only happens when they allow you to become part of that fraternal order. I'm not even getting into that, but I'm just laying it out. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. It's not a doubt that you could probably prove that he's part of the Masonic order and the fraternal order of police. But this is what happens. And a lot of times, now listen, I said to myself, maybe he's presenting this to give us strategy on what's going on behind enemy lines. One brother looked at me like I was goddamn crazy. That would have been a beautiful thing if he was saying, listen, this is how we do it. Now let me have a closed door meeting with the young brothers and show them how the police get down. That never happened. So I took the high road. I didn't take sides. I didn't say anything. Guess what I did, son? That I called Ray Hagan a couple of times and couldn't get him. Because I wasn't, because as respect, man, on a level of respect as somebody that I respect and I look up to Ray Hagan. I said, I'm not saying anything online and whatever. I'd rather call the brother and talk to the brother. Of course, the things I heard was very inflammatory. I would have never said those things, especially in a room full of young people. Do you understand what I'm saying? And then the second day is the thing that really bothered my spirit and my soul. When the brother stood up at the meeting, I said, first of all, that's that young spirit, and that's what's going to happen nowadays. You're going to get questioned. And to have the brother dismissed like that, young people are watching that and saying, you know something? The next time, we're not going to be so nice to some of the olders. Do you understand what I'm saying? That's putting us in a bad position. If the young brother got up and he says he just want to question Ray Hagan about the comments that he made yesterday, I think we should have gave the brother the floor and had an open dialogue. That was a teaching moment. I'm not saying Ray Hagan should have cleared it all up. That's not on me. That's on Ray. I didn't make the statements. But he should have gave the floor to the brother, listened to him, opened up and addressed what the brother had to say. And if you needed to correct something, he could have corrected it right then and there. Do you understand what I'm saying? Now, I don't go for us hearing something, bypassing the whole principle of contacting Ray. Can we have a meeting with you? That's respectful to an elder. Because if we allow it to be done to Ray, you next. I'm next. Let me tell you something, man. That happened to me in the past with SETI. Me and SETI are brothers today. I said something on an interview just like this. It went out. I said the term Africa is a Johnny-come-lately term. Brothers were so mad. I'm so right. I'm so right.
That's baby talk right there.
Exactly. But the SETI and a few other brothers who were threatening me physically didn't understand it. Guess what I did though? I called SETI. I didn't go on YouTube.
Right, that's how you do it.
I called the brother so we could talk man to man. Now, I love that brother today. That's a soldier. But if I went on YouTube and blasted him, then what would I have said to the young people? That's the way you resolve conflict? That's not the way you resolve conflict. Now, me and SETI could sit down. We could go over the annals of history, and we look at when did this term Africa come among our people. Then I had to say to SETI, are we not gods? So we have to take that Africa stuff and leave that alone a minute, man. We got to push forward to
And come
become
together
God.
until we first clear up our own differences within our own community. So we got to clean our glasses, and then we can say, you know what, now we could probably have a united front. Let's unite now, and let's come together and build on this. But we got differences. We can't act like there's no differences in our community. And we can't be afraid to say, I want to have this discussion with the brother or sister. Talk about that, Sister Zaza.
Well, first, let me clear something up, because you've said this a couple of times, that we are against debates, and that is absolutely incorrect. We never said that. When I questioned you when we did the interview with you not too long ago, I talked about debating our open enemies, adding that to bring it full circle. But my thing that we have to be mindful of is that you remember when Tupac and Biggie were banging, right?
Right.
Everybody was picking sides. I'm with Pac. I'm with Biggie. And it started a whole East Coast, West Coast. I was with Pac. You know what I'm saying? Ride or die, straight up. But it started a whole big East Coast, West Coast, beef, if you will. I see the thing that I see, and I say this all the time, I am a Hebrew Israelite in the proper context and understanding of the term. I am a Moor. I am a Christian in the proper and righteous understanding of the term. I am an African. I am a goddess. I accept and own and take responsibility for all of those terms. We have to elevate the level of conversation where we start to understand that all of these different religions, ideologies, different historical periods, different places in the world, all of it's ours. So when we're talking to our young people, I see people all the time online. It's like, yeah, Umar Johnson is my favorite. Well, Seti is my favorite. It's like these ain't cartoon characters. Right. These ain't characters in a comic book. We out here putting our lives on the line to raise the mindset of our people. So we got this fanfare thing going now, where it's like we get emotionally. It's like going to the club or going to an event where we have these emotional and academic highs. We have these brothers come on and present all of this information, and then the people who are there don't become a party to the information. So you sit there, you listen, you pick your side, you bump fists, whatever, you have that feel good moment, and then you don't take that information and make it relevant and manifest it into your own life. So that's my thing. We need to take ownership of all of it. And if we got niggas in the Hebrew Israelites and niggas in the Nation of Islam and niggas in the Nation of Gods and Earth and niggas in these different sects, then we need to deal with the niggas. That's right. Just like the niggas on the block. Mm-hmm. So handling from that perspective. And then there's a gentleman named Cleo Monago. He's a black man, since we can't find any white boys that want to debate. This dude is going around and morphing Afrocentric culture with homosexuality. There's a whole new agenda right now in changing the academia and the history of Africa and morphing it into some homosexuality. So let's talk about that. My thing is, I'm not mad at talking about 5,000 years ago, all of the different religious things, but we got to deal with the reality of what we're facing right now as a people. We are in trouble. Right. So do all of that. Put all of that together, but then make it tangible and real for the young brothers and sisters so that they won't be worshiping Imhotep of 7,000 years ago, so they can be Imhotep for today. That's my thing.
Okay. Brother Polite, you have a question, brother? You want to give props to the queen and the king right here. What's up?
Hey, peace.
Peace.
Love you guys. All right, my fault. I had to finish writing a comment. I very rarely write comments.
Yo, why don't you take it off the thing?
I got it off the speaker.
All right, go ahead.
I very rarely write comments, but this joint is addictive, man. So I was talking to the people and everything. But I love the show. I caught as much of it as I possibly could. I caught the bulk of it. I love the motivation and a different perspective that you bring. And I like the way y'all articulated the manner in which y'all responded to Brother Ray Higgins. And that's the essence of debate strategy for me, too. Because the manner in which you address Ray Higgins is the way we must learn how to respond to people, even when we feel offended by them. So that's one of the main reasons I like debates. Somebody was actually saying derogatory things about Griff and his wife, and I suggested to them, rather than them, write it up in the chat room, why don't they make an effort to call and address you and find out if there's another opportune moment to connect with you guys before they disseminate something that may not even be true. And again, that's another reason why the debates are good. And my number one reason for us having debates is because I feel it's preparing the leadership and the people to learn how to vote for their own people. A lot of times we say, oh man, it goes into character worship, and then people are voting for this one and people are voting for that one. But that's every government and every nation has to go through the process of voting to characters that appeal to their better interests and needs and put them into office. Somebody asked me in the chat room, polite, we need to make some organizations. That's what the black community needs. And I'm like, well, actually, I feel we got a lot of organizations. We got to find a way to organize the organizations, which is what Garvey was real good at.
That's right.
But even after we organize the organizations, how do we get leadership? Our leadership is going to have to debate amongst each other. And then the ones who persevere, the people have to vote for them to represent them in certain capacities. So this right here, I think, is just a learning process for us all. I mean, that's my intention. When I do the debates, I'm working my way into appealing to the people because I want to be voted as chief or president in the community. And I don't mean that as a condescending thing. I mean, we have a lot of organizations. We have to find a way to get all of us together to say, look, whoever wins the vote, they will represent our voice as a united front. But that's not going to happen until we debate amongst each other. Democrats have to debate amongst each other so the top Democrat could go against the top Republican. The Republicans have to debate amongst each other so the top Republican could debate against the top Democrat. And then the people weigh in and they vote for their leadership. Our people are uncomfortable with voting for people because we see what religion has done to us, where we're always looking for a martyr or we're always looking for a leader. So I understand the insecurity about a lot of us saying, man, we just want to organize as a whole. But we do need leadership. And if we don't vote for our leadership, people will be self-appointed and misrepresent the views of our people. But anyway, I love y'all. I want to get y'all, you guys' take on where you see the black
Your phone breaking up.
What direction do you see the black community going in as far as y'all agenda is concerned within the next 2 years?
Say that again, polite.
What is it that you guys have in mind for our community that you feel will come to fruition inside of 2 years, even 3 years? It doesn't have to be major, but what part of your agenda is going to help impact us as a people 2-3 years from now?
All right, polite. I'm going to hang up from you because she's getting ready to go to her PowerPoint when they answer the question. All right, brother?
Peace.
Peace, brother. Peace. That was a beautiful question, and questions like that typifies that brother's understanding of what debates should be about. So when you're talking about standing in the present, having to move forward with a 2-year, what was it in the Secret? They said you can only see as far as your headlights will allow you to see when you're driving at night. But that was a microcosm as to how we view things, because we standing in the present based on the science behind Sankofa. We're standing in the present, always having to reach back to stay rooted into who and what we are, moving forward into the future. So 2 years from now, looking forward, two years from now, and I'm sure I could speak to some aspects of how Zaza feel and think about this. 2 years from now, we would have written and put out the homeschool curriculum. We'd have connected all the homeschools in the United States. We'd have already interviewed the top educators in America that have already taken their individual homeschooling and independent black school ideologies, theologies, system, plans, and methods. We have already interviewed them, condensed it, put it in a program that we can get it to young mothers and fathers, and because all of us have to become educators. The whole idea of educating an entire generation, that we can put this kind of information in them to build future leaders. So looking forward 2 years, we'd have owned our own radio station to be able to have a direct line of communication to our people with cutting out the middleman, not having to go through the FCC, the FAA, and a few of them other alphabet boys in order to communicate with our people, because we understand trends in technology and we know and understand that net neutrality is right around the corner. And what Sarnetta is doing right now with this live streaming stuff or whatever, bruh, you probably got to pay about 20 G's for this in a minute. Because some people are about to shut all of this down. And until we get with the engineers that could set this structure up as part of a larger infrastructure as far as our people are concerned, this is going to be a thing of the past. We might as well take advantage of this while we can take advantages. 2 years from now, I want to be able to own some land where we can build our own facility, where we can have our own lectures and meetings and training grounds to do what we need to do for our people, not only in one place with one school or one building or whatever. And I'm not throwing shots and taking cheap shots at anyone. We need to build that one model like all multinational corporations do. McDonald's had one McDonald's. I don't know which country it was in. And they used that model once it was successful, and they duplicated that particular thing in the area, then nationwide. Now everywhere you go in the world, you see McDonald's. That's how we need to do it. But the most important thing is to put something in place where we all could be on the same page. Now, let me just say one thing. I think what Polite just gave us was beautiful if you're trying to elect a leader. We're not doing that. We're trying to make leaders. All of us. Do you understand what I'm saying? I love that brother, and like him, I want to qualify myself to be one of them leaders. Not to lead people, but to lead Griff.
All right, you ready? You can start when you're ready.
All right, let me just respond to that real quick. First, I think what hasn't been mentioned about the debate on the table and money in the pockets of a lot of people.
One more time.
Oh, you want to make sure you get that, huh?
You know these cameras, Griff, they cut off at a certain time.
Okay.
Yeah, so I missed it.
I want to make sure that I get this in. I know that anytime you have debates in these type of different events, that you are putting food on the table and money in the pockets of a lot of different people outside of the people who are actually coming to put the information on. So you have vendors, you have the venue where it's actually located. You have a lot of different entities that are coming together and feeding and creating communities within communities. So I don't want to leave that off the table. That's economic building within itself right there. I agree with what he said as far as coming in and doing the debates to be able to discern who has leadership qualities and potentials. I would say that just because you win a debate doesn't necessarily mean that you would be prominent in a role of leadership in the community. Dr. Frances Cress Welsing debated, I think, 2 white dudes. That's it. She's already qualified herself for a position of leadership. Marimba Ani never needs to debate anybody. She's already qualified herself for a position of leadership. Brother Baruti and Sister Ya, they have a school that they built out of their home. They're already leaders in our communities. So we have the debate aspect where we can look to certain minds, brilliant scholars, brilliant historians for our people to decide who can play what role. But then we also have to look at the people who are already doing the work, like Sarnetta. He's got a track record. He's already proven himself. Griff has already proven himself. He's never going to debate. I know he's not, but I'm just saying to make the point. There's already people everywhere we go in every city. There's brothers and sisters who are working and have been working to assist our people in different ways. Prison industrial complex schools, whatnot. So that's the flip side of that. The last thing I want to say about that is, what was the question you asked? I want to make sure I answered that correctly. The one you asked that Griff just answered.
No, that was Polite. Polite said 2 years from now.
2 years from now. Okay, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Okay. You got it?
I got it.
Okay.
So we have the homeschool curriculum. Right now, we have a group called Cooperative Economics Support Our Schools. We choose African-centered, Black-centered schools that are owned and operated by and God-centered, and that's what our homeschool curriculum is going to be, God-centered. We choose schools every 3 months, and all of our members send financial $20 a month to that particular school. That's just one link in the chain. I am a student of architecture. My major is urban design and development. I intend to go back to school and learn the craft and master the craft so that I can be able to come back into the inner city and use that tool to rebuild our city so that wherever we end up going, I'm not just going to talk, that I can actually put my skills to work to actually build communities, understanding how cities and urban areas are built and how to build communities and hospitals and banks and whatnot. So that's another aspect of it. My book is going to be released early next year, and it's my goal, not only Black Matters. And it's my goal, not only because I ordained myself, but because I see the impact that the work that we're doing is having on our sisters, as well as the serious need of our sisters are hurting right now. They are lost. They are in unfulfilling relationships. They are with men who are mistreating them, or they are alone, or they are mistreating men, or they are mistreating our children. It's just so the layers of issues that Black women right now in this country and all around the world have. Part of my work is definitely going to be in resurrecting the God self of the Black woman. And then our young people, our children, that's our demographic. We're trying to reach the 12 to 18 and the young 20s so we can raise them up. You know, you hear people come before you a lot and they say, well, you know, we need to be sovereign, or, you know, we need to have, you know, we need economics. We need this. We need depending on who you ask, one person will say mental health is the most important issue. Another person will say economics is the most important issue. Another person will say, you know, stopping the gangster and the degrading culture of music and the impact of our young people. Find your niche. We are not coming and promising you the sun and the moon and the stars. That's not even God talk. We trying to raise the consciousness and the mentality of our people so that all of us can be Zaza Ali's. All of us can be Griffs. All of us can be Francis Cress Welsings. All of us can be Imhoteps and Hatshepsuts. That's what we're striving to do, to raise the conscious level of our people. And it doesn't mean to say that, you know, people say there's always and if there's going to be leaders, there's always going to be followers. Yeah, but we need to be arming our people so that they can be self-saviors. I'm not going to get up in front of you and tell you that I have the only answer, that my way is the only way, that this. No, and we need to stop doing that, because you turn people off when you do that. Help people to tap into their higher self and to see something within themselves that's going to spark a change in them. So first you can put down the blunt, then you put down the pork, then you stop drinking milk. Slow steps towards improving your own life. Then stop lying. Then stop spending money that you don't have.
Stop secretly having sex with white women.
Stop cheating on your girlfriend. Stop trying to be a player in the name of you know, this. I'm not gonna go there. You know, this over sexualized community that we have right now, even the conscious community. It's like the sisters are trying to, you know, be comedic sex goddesses. Stop that bullshit. Stop doing that. Take the women back to the power of our minds. You can turn a whole nation around with your mind. You ain't gonna do it because you got a big ass. So that's the goal that I'm trying to do, to raise the minds of our sisters, because you teach a man, you teach an individual, but you teach a woman, you teach a nation. And we got sisters that are standing in the background that have power and scientific geniusness and creativity, and that can come to the forefront with ideas that'll blow this whole thing up. And they can't talk and they can't speak because somebody got their foot on their neck. So our goal is to build people, not followers, to give our brothers and sisters, arm them with knowledge and information, and then build blueprints in our own lives. I have a real estate background. I want to go and buy properties and fix them up and flip them. I've done that before. I know how to do that. So it's taking what we talk about and then manifesting it to show and prove what God is. Elijah Muhammad showed and proved. I hear a lot of people talking about this leader was this and that. Right. Nobody did what this person. Elijah Muhammad showed and proved. His organization, his businesses would be worth billions of dollars today. So it's looking at the reality, not just what we talk about our ancestors did, not what we just talk about what they did in the 60s and the 70s, but actually showing and proving in our own lives. The Barudis are showing and proving. They're creating young geniuses that are going to the world and turn this whole thing around. So some of it's tangible, some of it's intangible, it's spiritual, it's mental, it's all of these things. Just find your niche and master it.
All right, Sonetta, this is Professor Griff from Sonetta TV. We're about to sign out. We're about to turn this over to Zaza Ali so she could do her thing. And we only going to be a few more minutes, so we want y'all to stay tuned. And also, I just want to let you know, coming from Professor Griff, you know, PKA, you know, Higher Chakra, PKA, you know, Imhotep, PKA, Shaka Zulu, PKA, you know. But anyway, stay tuned for my big sister, Ms. Zaza Ali. Here you go, Sonetta.
They ain't in the streets, but they gave me life. No, but don't misinterpret what I said. Listen to me, brother. Listen to me, brother. Listen to me, brother. I'm from the streets, straight East Oakland, straight from the hood. They gave me life. They gave me fortitude and courage to be able to do what I'm doing so I can go out on the block and reach the young sisters. And I didn't say, I said they've already established themselves as leaders. Am I right? Right. That was the only point. Okay. They've already established themselves. They don't need to do a debate to become a leader because they've done the work. That's the only point I was trying to make, brother.
And with that, family, you get the last word. Don't worry about that. You get the last word.
Okay.
Let's go on over here to Black Magic.
All right, cool.
PowerPoint presentation, Sister Zaza Ali.
So we already went way beyond our time, so I'm going to try to speed through this quickly.
That's why I needed y'all to do more. Griff, you should have had that set up for the questions.
No, I got
So I'm good right here, right? So I can read. Yeah, I got it. Okay. All right. So I know I originally told you that I was going to do Plagues of Dysfunction, but considering what I saw Minister Inky put it down, and I know how hype you are about this whole Mike Brown situation, I'm going to redo some of the lecture that I did dealing with Ferguson and the psychological warfare that's taking place right now. This is my book cover, Black Matters, a comprehensive overview of the state of Black America from a historic, scientific, and social perspective. That's young me on the back, and that's me striving right now to develop and redevelop the God self, and that's going to be out early next year. This is the flyer for our radio show, Tuesdays and Thursdays, Professor Griff and Zaza Ali. It comes on 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Make sure you check us out. And we also do weekly interviews with Brother Rich on YouTube. His YouTube page is Black Magic 363. So check that out as well. These are the shoulders that I'm standing on. I always mention these sisters when I speak because without them, there would be no Zaza Ali. So, of course, Sister Soldier, Ava Muhammad, Marimba Ani, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, who has had the most important impact on my life, Tynetta Muhammad, Queen Afua, and Dr. Joy DeGrew. We all need to be studying these sisters and understanding the power that the scholars and the sisters that are doing the work have right now. So what's really going on in Ferguson? And like Griff always says, we need to start looking in it instead of just looking at it. And a lot of us are stepping back right now and just looking at what's happening instead of actually looking into it. So this is dedicated to Mike Brown as well as Eric Garner. These brothers could have been my cousins, could have been my nephews, could have been, the brothers that I grew up with on the block. Beautiful brothers with endless potential, and they, among others, are being killed and murdered every day in this country. There's a lot of murders that are happening that we're not even talking about. The brother Lennon Lacey was found hanging last month in Bladensboro, North Carolina. I don't have it in here, no, but Google him, look him up. Lennon Lacey, Bladensboro, North Carolina, 17-year-old brother who was involved with a 31-year-old white woman. And they found him hanging, and they said that it's consensual sex in North Carolina at the age of 16. So she wasn't doing anything illegal. But this is another situation. There was a brother named Cody Ingham in Athens, Texas, who was found hanging in front of his white girlfriend's house. So when we talk about, interracial relationships and love who you love, Well, when you're a black man, who you love can actually get you killed. So we need to start having that conversation when we talk about interracial relationships. A lot of these young brothers are coming up dead right now because they are involved with European women. And then you never hear anything about the women that they're involved with going to bat for them. Where's his girlfriend? Where's the woman that he was having sex with? The brother who was found, that he was dragged and they found his body with his eyeballs popped out. You remember his name? Alfred Wright? Was that him?
Texas, right?
In Texas. Yeah, he was this was what, last year? It was the story was on CNN, and they said that he was supposedly. So the brother Alfred Wright in Texas, they found his body mutilated and his eyeballs popped out. He was supposedly having an affair with the sheriff's daughter. We ain't heard from her.
Right.
Where are these women, these white women who've been involved with these brothers? If love is love and you love who you love, they should be everywhere, screaming and hollering about these brothers getting justice. So we know of 2 brothers who have been lynched in the past year, and it's much more than that. But just, when we talk about that conversation of interracial relationships, who you love can get you killed in the United States. You want to turn this back around on this?
Yes, I was waiting on you as soon as you start. I got you.
So now, of course, on much love and respect for the family and the legacy of Brother Eric Garner, I told Griff, just being in New York and moving around and seeing how expensive everything is, you gotta have a hustle out here to even survive. It's like, bruh, you can't even go from New Jersey to New York without paying, what was it, $30 in toll? That's crazy. So you gotta have some type of hustle to even be able to survive out here. But this whole thing now, what we have to understand is this is psychological warfare. When every single time they talk about Eric Garner, they keep showing his body, him being murdered over and over and over and over on the news. Bobby Hemmett talked one time, and it's always stuck with me, about us having our children watching movies, slave movies, and different movies that show our people being murdered. We have to stop doing that because it's having an impact on their melanin and having an impact on their mindset. So we think that because we have our children watching the news that they're being informed, but it's impacting them in a negative way to keep seeing Eric Garner murdered over and over and over and over and over again. To keep seeing, you think they left Mike Brown's body out in the ground on the ground for 4.5 hours for no reason? That was intentional. They are instilling fear in our young people. And they keep showing his body over and over in the news every time they talk about the story. So now the Daily News, all of the different media outlets across the world are talking about people being fed up with police brutality and white people joining the cause. And like I said before, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing said, be mindful of Greeks that come bearing gifts. Right. She said, we need to start solving our own problems on our own. So at what point do we say, you know what, we appreciate you. We thank you for your help. You want to do something, donate some money to this cause. You can help us financially. But as far as, we know when white people enter the room, our people switch gears. They get scared. They sit up a little bit straighter and start monitoring what they saying, worried about their job. So let's put that to the side and let's come into the room together, close the door, and talk amongst ourselves and start talking about strategy. So Black Friday protests. Sales went down 11%, and everybody's saying it's a victory, right? We won. But then a couple of days later, they refused to indict the murderer of Eric Garner. This type of conversation right here, and I saw a lot of people talking about this like it was a victory. First of all, they expected the sales to be down because of Cyber Monday. They have a whole new method of shopping using the internet. That's number one. Number two, when you boycott corporations, you're financially hurting the corporations. In order for that to become tangible help to our people, the corporations have to turn around and hire lobbyists. The lobbyists have to turn around and go to the government and appeal for changes in laws. So when we say boycotting is the answer, no, we boycotted for a whole year in Alabama. Shut the whole bus transportation system down. Instead of building our own buses, creating our own transportation systems, we sat back and wait for white people to let us sit on the front of the bus. And then 4 years later, 4 little sisters were blown up in a church in Alabama. So what is it that we're really trying to accomplish here? Do we really just want the approval of white people? We want them to love us. We want them to accept us. We want to show them how good we are, how we deserve better. Or are we trying to be sovereign people, building our own communities, policing our own streets? Another brother was just killed in Phoenix, Rumain Brisbane, unarmed brother, on his way to take some food to his family. He's dead now. This is after Black Friday. They're getting ready to have trial number 3 for the police officer who killed 7-year-old Ayanna in Detroit. We're not even talking about this. And this is another thing that we have to deal with. I saw a sharp distinction and difference between the way that the Relisha Rudd case, Relisha Rudd and Renisha McBride and Ayanna, how it was handled versus Trayvon Martin and Oscar Grant. The sisters are not getting the type of limelight that the brothers are getting. This is a young 7-year-old child who was murdered by a devil who walked in and just shot her point blank. Why are we not talking about this? Why is Detroit not on fire right now? Dr. Frances Cress Welsing said, until we can talk and deal with the reality of racism, we will continue the cycle of insanity, which goes like this. You kill a black male, then black people protest and call in the spokesperson. That would be Al Sharpton. The ministers come to pray. Black people put out flowers and have a funeral, then wait in vain for a court to render justice. The courts don't render justice, then there's a long pause and the cycle starts again. A white person kills a black person, black people protest, call in the spokesperson, black people scream, pray and shout, flowers and a funeral, and then we wait for the courts to render justice again. For sure, another black person is going to be killed. Now, I say the answer is not for black people to be out in the street acting wild, because the military setup that you see is being set up for black people. You instigate them into rioting, then you can cart them off and put them in a concentration camp. Our people are being terrorized, fearing an encounter with the police. There has never been a break in time since our people were brought to these shores when black people were not under attack. There has never been a break in time since our people were brought to these shores when black people were not under attack. That's what Ray Hagan should have been telling them young people when he was sitting in that room. Ferguson was a sundown town. This was an area where black people know that after a certain amount of time, they don't need to be outside. These people have been under attack. It says in a report leaked to the press this week, reports show that while whites make up nearly a third of Ferguson's population, they account for only 12.7% of stops made by the police department last year. In comparison, African Americans made up 93% of arrests following car stops, despite the fact that whites have been noted as more likely to actually contain contraband upon being searched. Our people have been under assault in Ferguson, Missouri. So when you see Mike Brown snatching that dude up in the store, he's probably frustrated as hell. He's probably goes through that every single day of his life. Just coming from the store and walking home. So the King Alfred Plan, which all of our people should be researching, all of us should know. A new government program was developed by the National Security Council between the years of 1960 and 1964. It's called the King Alfred Plan. The plan details the encampment and extermination of 22 million blacks. That's the number in 1970. It has been solidified by Reagan under Mr. Louis Gritfrida of FEMA. The plan is under the control of FEMA and has been secured under Executive Orders 11490, 11921, and 12148. Now, to all of these people who stand back and disrespect us and talk about we only talking about conspiracy theories, take King Alfred out of your mind and look at what happened to Ferguson, Missouri. They use weapons that they use in Syria and Iraq that they're using in major wars against our people. And we were provoked. They killed our brother. And you got military high-grade equipment that they're using on our people. This is under the guise of the 1033 program. the Department of Defense. It says that the U.S. Wanted its police to act like drug warriors, that it equipped them to the tune of around $4.3 billion in equipment. The St. Louis County Police Department's annual budget is around $160 billion. By providing law enforcement agencies with surplus military equipment free of charge, the NDAA encourages police to employ military weapons in military. We're not praying our way out of this. We're not marching our way out of this. We're not protesting our way out of this. I'm not mad at the esoteric meditation, elevating your consciousness and your vibration and your frequency. I'm not mad at this, but that shit's not going to work if they kick your door in. How are you arming your children to be able to protect themselves? How are you arming the sisters when you out fighting in the streets and your wife is at home with your children by herself? How are you arming them to be ready for that? We're not having the real conversations. And this is why I get so frustrated. Because we're not talking about the shit that we really need to be talking about. They in Ferguson. Goggles, standard issue for most troops fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan. Smoke flare tear gas launcher with Ecotech red dot sight. K-bar style fighting knife, standard issue for U.S. Marines. Gas mask, short-barreled AB variant rifle similar to military M4. Camouflage pants, pattern used in Marine Corps. Kevlar helmet with mount for night vision device. Extra magazines for rifle and pistol. Francis Cress Welsing said they are dressed to a T like they are confronting an enemy. Mega AR-15 rifle, chambered in 7.62 millimeter with loophole long-range scope. Bearcat armored vehicle, similar in look to military's MRAP, mine-resistant ambush protected vehicle. For what? Because somebody threw a bottle? Because somebody went up in a store that's got insurance that's going to be covered no matter what and stole some damn cigarettes and liquor? This is what they came to our people with? When is the last time you saw this happen in an Asian community? In an Arab community, in a Latino community? When is the last time you saw them come for them like that? The Ferguson no-fly zone was instituted to keep the media out. They telling us that they intentionally took 37 miles of airspace around the city. The FAA would not allow any airplanes because they knew that they were going to have to handle our people a certain way, and they didn't want it to be put on what they're doing and what they should be doing and what they're not doing. When is the last time you stopped and talked to this brother on the streets with your smart ass on CNN and MSNBC calling our young people thugs and talking about their rioting? When is the last time you talked to this brother or a brother who looked like that? We sitting back talking, they want peace, but they keep provoking violence. And all we keep talking about is peace, trying to tell our young people what not to do, but you're not telling them what to do. And then they talked about the black businesses that were destroyed. First of all, most of the businesses were not black. Second of all, it was one street where all of this stuff happened. And this sister right here, had a bakery store and they vandalized her place. I don't even think the extent of the damage was that great because they never talked about it. She raised $236,000. This sister's gonna be all right. We might have to tear some shit up in order to be heard, but we are being protected. There is a divine mind and a creator that is always with us, protecting us. This sister's gonna be all right. So the pumpkin festival, they keep calling our young people thugs and saying that, we riot and we loot and we don't know how to take care of our community. Ain't nobody talking about the fact that in April, these white thugs went out, turned over cars, burned up the city, burned up the streets, threw bottles at police. Nobody got attacked by the police. They didn't come through with militarized weaponry. And they burned the damn city up in October 2014. Why are we not talking about this? We should be busting back at them for talking about our young people. So after Mike Brown's killing, the Negroes set up a voter registration right literally like maybe 10 feet from where his body was laid out. In front of the makeshift memorial where Mike Brown was killed, they've set up a voter registration table, and voting numbers increase in Ferguson as a result. Voting is not going to fix this. Voting is not going to fix this. We have been voting. The system is set up to make sure that we fail. So you can put your energy and effort into that if that's what you want to do, but stop telling our people that this is the answer, that this is what's going to fix it. No, this is part of what got us into this position in the first place, putting too much damn energy into this system.
But that's part of the psyop. That's part of the psychological.
Exactly, to make you feel like you can do something, to have some sort of impact, to make change. The lie of democracy. So Common, with Mike Brown's parents and the entire audience at BET, after Common performs with Jay Electronica, and I forget who this other brother is, everybody goes on stage and puts their hands up and holds their hands up for a minute. Put your fucking hands down. Why are we, do you know how weak and pathetic this looks to the world? How submissive we look? We begging for justice. And look what this turns out to be. Look at these young people in the streets with their hands up. Hands up, don't shoot. We trivializing our own lives, and we teaching our young people to be weak and to be scared. So Benjamin Crump, the new black people's hero, he just picked up Tamir Rice's case. And you saw that Akai Gurley's family told him, nope, we don't know. Al Sharpton, told Al Sharpton, we don't want to have nothing to do with you. Thank God. But he's always there. CI7 is his informant name. So Benjamin Crump now is 0-2, and now Tamir Rice has his family has hired them to take on their case. Where did this dude come from? When did he become the black people's champion? And why can't he take a few speech therapy lessons to be able to talk without sounding like he got spit in his mouth?
Mm-hmm. Now, I didn't know Akai Gurley family told Al Sharpton.
No, they told him we no parts of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here we have Anonymous, Ku Klux Klan and Ferguson police ties exposed by Anonymous. We need to be very mindful anytime saviors come talking about they have our best interest at hand. Because Anonymous originally put out the wrong name of the wrong police officer. And then they swept that under the rug. I had a bunch of videos showing Anonymous and kind of giving a timeline of where they came from and who exactly they may be. We don't have time to get into all of that. But I see our people posting information by Anonymous like we have new saviors now. No, we don't even know who this is. So this is a video. It's real short. It's part of a longer video. The longer video is called Army Trains to Combat Black Americans. But this video shows there's a place called the Guardian Center in Arizona. And it is a huge property where they do all type of, what's the word I'm looking for? Tragic training. Yeah, they have drills, exactly. They have a area where the houses are flooded so they can go and rescue people. This is just a short clip of this video where it shows, well, let's take a look at it.
Big army.
Hold on, let me start it over.
Let's look at some of these patches, Joe. All right, so some of the video right here you're going to see is pretty disturbing. Actual big army out here training to put people into FEMA camps, essentially.
Okay, let's try this one more time.
Let's look at some of these patches, Joe. All right, so some of the video right here you're going to see is pretty disturbing. Actual big army out here training to put people into FEMA camps, essentially. You will have them taking them into custody, detaining them, and handing them over to police to be held. So right here we have a 3rd Infantry Division patch. You'll also see a 1st Armored Division, which is out of El Paso, Texas. And then you'll see a 1st Cavalry Division patch as well. Helicopters coming in, soldiers. It looks fine and dandy. Then you got the concertina wire right here. Soldier, white guy, actually fighting an African American citizen, getting her, trying to detain her until the cops can come and put her in a camp. And there you go. This is what's happening right now in our backyard every day.
And then as you watch longer, they're all black. Look, you got black guys right there.
Yeah, they're the only ones that flip over cars and go and riot, apparently.
then they burn it.
These centers are popping up everywhere right now. The one that we saw in Virginia. There's the Marine base one now that looks more like a rural suburbia kind with the churches and all that as well. And now we have this. This is even more in depth. This is completely mind-blowing. It gives me chills watching this to see the links they're going to, the training they have that they're going through to bring this to our country on our streets.
And I can just hear the people. Is my mic on? I can just hear people saying, well, Alex Jones is an agent. Why are you showing Alex Jones?
That's what they say. The video where they was sitting at Griff talking about,
Oh, yeah.
Griff's fucking with Alex Jones.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, like the situation that we're in right now, we need to be studying everybody. We need to be taking information because we just saw what they just showed on the video take place in Ferguson. And as far as the people in the chat room, you know, who talking about negatively about me, join the club. Join the club. Get in line. But stop talking about the people on the field and get on the field and actually make something happen. This video right here. Police throw small bombs into a crowd of protesters. They did that. You know what I'm saying? This just happened in Ferguson. So when we talk about, let me stand back up. When we talk about white police officers and the issues that they have with brothers, the dude Norm Stamper is telling us. He wrote a book called Breaking Rank. He says he has a chapter called Why White Cops Kill Black Men. He said white cops are afraid of black men. We don't talk about it. We pretend it doesn't exist. We claim colorblindness. We say white officers treat black men the same way they treat white men. That's a lie. In fact, the bigger, the darker, the blacker the man, the greater the fear. The African American community knows this. Hell, most whites know it. Yes, even though it's a central, if not the defining ingredient in the makeup of police racism, white cops won't admit it to themselves or to others. And the question is, are we preparing our sons with this information right here? So Frances Cress Welsing in her book talks about the gun and how white men consider the gun to be the equalizer to the black man's penis. She said there's a Western expression that says God did not create all men equal, but Colonel Colt did, referring to the Colt revolver. She gave the breakdown of the black male genitalia. Then she turned it to the side. And then she turned it to the other side, and she gave this final analysis and goes into the science of it. She says to the extent that the guns manufactured and made by the white collective in the context of white supremacy were used against blacks and other genetically dominated colored people on earth, they became the answer to the great fear of white genetic annihilation. The gun became not only the weapon, the developed technology to ensure white genetic survival, but it also became the symbolic white penis. Thus, it is no accident that white males often refer to one another as son of a gun. This is symbolically determined pattern of speech, and I am certain that white males who use it have not understood in depth why a phrase entered and remains in their minds. This phrase deprecates the white male genitalia apparatus that fathers white people with their genetically deficient state of albinism. It says instead that the white male prefers the gun to be his phallus and the phallus of his father. The gun then becomes the desired all-powerful phallus of the white male, which he conceives of as being an equalizer to the phallus of the black and other non-white males. This is what we need to be teaching our sons. I told the young brothers when we were in North Carolina a couple of weeks ago, when they look at you, they see God. That's why they're so scared of you. And they know that science has already shown and proven that our people are the original people of the Creator. That you can genetically wipe out all other races. That's why they're so upset with you. Can you imagine if we armed all the young brothers on the street to be able to understand this when they walk in and interact with police officers? We talked about the bullyish behavior already with Pharrell Williams, so I'm not going to go back over that. This is a video. I'm not going to show this. I'm going to move past it. But I'm asking the sisters, because this white woman did this interview and talked. She said, I am Darren Wilson. And she talked about the fact how they are supporting him. This is before the autopsy came out.
That's powerful right there. You got to play that.
On behalf of the local supporters around the world, for publicly displaying your support for Officer Darren Wilson. We are not speaking on behalf of Officer Darren Wilson or his appointed representatives. We are speaking solely on behalf of the online campaign titled Support Darren Wilson. Our mission is to formally declare that we share the united belief that Officer Wilson's actions on August 9th were warranted and justified, and he has our unwavering support. We believe that the evidence has and will continue to validate our position. We want to thank the media for finally highlighting the other side of this story. However, the media has shown a strong bias against the supporters of Darren Wilson.
That's white folks, y'all. See that?
We believe this has only intensified the destruction of the community of Ferguson and the surrounding St. Louis areas. We are exclusively here to support Darren Wilson, and we have no desire to engage in the negativity and hate which has paralyzed Officer Wilson's ability to pursue justice. Many of us have received death threats against ourselves and our families. Contrary to media suggestions, we are not affiliated with any hate groups. However, we respect each individual's First Amendment rights in this country. We will not hide. We will no longer live in fear. We ask this question: can justice ever be attained if one side's supporters are living in fear of speaking out? If you support Darren Wilson, make your voices heard. Call or write Governor Jay Nixon and demand that this bias stops now.
This is some crap.
The media will have to earn the trust of the Support Darren Wilson group. Stop drawing maps to houses, broadcasting in front of parties' homes, knocking on their families' doors, putting people's lives at risk. This is unethical, poor journalism, and a travesty to this case. At the end of this statement, the media will inevitably ask for my name, others' names and relationships, job titles, stories, etc. You want my name? My name is Darren Wilson. We are Darren Wilson. Thank you.
So my question to the sisters is, where are we at? We see their position. We see them defending their men. Before the evidence was even out, before the autopsy was out, they supported the officer and what he was doing. That's not even his wife. So, where are we at as far as being vocal, as far as letting our sons and our daughters see what our position on this is, as far as countering that? So that same website raised over $500,000, and of course he got paid $500,000 for the ABC News interview. So this devil's a millionaire now.
Damn, man. That's what I was just telling Griff. They reward.
Yeah.
The same cop that killed Eric Garner.
Exactly.
He got rewarded. What's my man's name? George Zimmerman.
Yeah, got rewarded. Exactly. The officer in Oklahoma who is standing to be charged with the rapes of all of those sisters, they started a GoFundMe page for him. He raised $7,000 before they shut it down. And they shut it down immediately because it was so, blasphemous. But we got schools that barely can keep their doors open, and they putting together $1 million at the drop of a hat.
But see, we ask for little donations to help keep the movement alive.
Right.
And we want to cry about, why we got to pay money?
Exactly.
Why
No, real talk. Everybody's a revolutionary until it's time to cut the check.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
So the brother Free put a post up on his page, and I don't have the exact name to credit it properly, but it said, "You go to war to win, not to say I was there." We had people in Ferguson who were taking pictures in front of the convenience store where Mike Brown had his little altercation and posting pictures online. People actually coming now, well, where were you at? I was in Ferguson. Where were you? What did you do when you were in Ferguson?
Came and took a picture.
You know what I'm saying? You weren't even there. What did you do? It's brothers and sisters getting killed everywhere across this country. It's a war going on in every single city. So just to say I was there in Ferguson on some, 1964 civil rights type, this is history. Everybody keeps saying this is history. Brothers getting killed every day.
Shout out to my sister, Melanin Sutek in the building.
My sister.
Yeah.
Peace, Queen.
She said, kill a nigga, get rich. Kill a nigga, get money.
Exactly.
Hey, I said, peace. Professor, say she can hear you.
Peace, Queen.
Peace, sister. How you feel? I hope you still holding it down. I know she is.
Yeah, she can hear you. Okay. Melanin Sutek gonna hear you.
So what's the end game for the civil rights movement part 2? So if we're in the civil rights movement part 2, can we basically say that part 1 didn't work?
Hell yeah.
Is that what that amounts to?
That's what it's saying.
Let's be clear. We do not represent civil rights in 2014. We are not taking that same route and going through the same shit that they went through and ending up with the same results that they ended up with. No.
Talking about human rights.
Exactly, opposed to civil rights. We are directing our young people and all of our people, get out of the streets protesting and marching with your hands up and laying down on the ground. If you want to protest and march, do it like a man. Do it like a woman, straight up, demanding that they respect you, demanding that they look you in your face. And protesting and marching and boycotting is not going to fix the problem. It will make a statement, yes, make the statement, but it's not going to fix the problem. We are not in civil rights movement part 2. We are totally going to have to change the game if we're going to win this. And I'm going to end with this video from these young brothers in protest and these young brothers out in Ferguson, just to let you know that we are not going to be making the same mistakes that we made in the 1960s. We stand on that experience, but this is what's representing us from here forward.
Hit me.
As madness was breaking out all over Ferguson, I thought to myself, I gotta do this. Is America a racist country?
Fuck yeah.
Totally racist?
Hell yeah.
To the bone.
You racist.
Why?
Cause you white.
If I'm white, I'm racist?
Yeah.
Could a black person be racist?
Nope.
It's impossible a black person be racist?
Yeah.
But if you hate white people, does that make you racist?
We don't hate white people. Y'all the devil.
Is this a racist country?
Yeah. We not racist. Your kind of racist, though.
My kind?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a racist country.
Totally racist country?
Totally racist.
Man, America is built on racism.
Cause when y'all go back to y'all hotel room, they be like, oh, the nigga with the rag on his face is funny.
Yeah.
You could be my friend in my face, but when you get around your peers, I know you call me a nigga.
Do you think that's what I do?
Yeah.
Have you experienced racism?
What?
Is he black?
Oh my God!
Is he black?
Bro, I done got this. Let me tell you this. Have you seen any violence since you been down there?
If they wanted peace,
have you seen any violence since you been down there? Cameraman, have you seen any violence since you been down there? What's not peaceful about this? What's not peaceful?
Why you guys here? Why you guys here?
To fuck shit up. We here with the shit. To fuck shit up.
Does the facts matter? Or should we just finish that?
Yeah, they should have, man. He know, man, he did wrong, man. He should have been indicted. He should have been fucking killed, goddamn.
Should Darren Wilson be executed?
He should be hung. Straight up. On the real shit.
What should we do, Darren Wilson?
Kill him.
Man, you know what? I would have gave Darren Wilson the same treatment as a young brother out here who did the same thing. Yeah.
What's that?
Expedited justice.
Is there been justice?
Hell no. Not at all.
No?
Not even one bit.
Honestly.
You ain't gonna try out.
You want my honest opinion?
I want you to know.
I don't know the answer. I want to find out.
No. It didn't go to trial. It didn't go to trial.
World is in uproar. How the fuck don't you know the answer? How the fuck don't you know the answer? The whole country is in an uproar. For the simple fact that you don't know the answer is fucked up. Go join them. Go join them. What the fuck are you interviewing us for?
let him go. Let him get it
Right?
You know what he's talking about.
He's not.
Nah, man.
Even though he went in that liquor store?
Man, they don't make him a thug, man. It don't matter at all, man. And he was a good dude.
Barack Obama's been president for 6 years.
Man, come on now.
What did he do to stop racism?
You know what? That's where I'm going to end that because I don't have nothing to say. I don't got nothing good to say about it.
What has Barack Obama done to help the black people in America?
Shit!
Man, I don't know. We don't know.
What's he done for you? What's he done for you?
Not a damn thing.
Let him know.
I'm a Jewish person. You don't think it's
I'm Jew. I'm the real Jew. I'm from the tribe called Judah. You're not Jewish.
I think I'm Jewish, man.
You're not Jewish.
I pray 2 times a day.
You're not Jewish.
I eat kosher.
You see these black people out here, we the real Jews.
Not really, no.
Yeah.
They waking up, man.
This conversation is done.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And we're gonna end it with that. That's what we're talking about. We the Jews, we the Hebrew Israelites, we the Moors, we the Muslims, we the Christians, we the gods of this world. So stop being tenants and thinking like tenants, and let's start thinking like landlords. Peace and love, family.
Peace. Sister Melanin Sutek wanted to call in. We waiting on you, Queen, before they break out. Right. You gotta come on. You gotta come on, Sister Melanin. Yeah, that was powerful right there.
Thank
you, right.
We came full circle.
Yeah.
Me and you.
Right. Yeah, that right there was powerful, you know what I'm saying, family? And see, the white man the white man and woman, they ain't got a problem with supporting their own. They support their murderers, they killers. You know what I'm saying? This is what I always think, Professor Griff. See if I'm on it or what. When the police kill a black man, I don't think they donating that money. I think they already got them checks ready and made up. Say, yo, it's your turn to go out and carry this ritual. You know what I'm saying? What do you think about that right there?
That's part of that fraternal order that we were talking about. This is the thing that they have. Let me say, they got money in their coffers already. We already know that for things just like this to happen. You understand what I'm saying? Right. They got money. They got money set aside. Yeah, these officers belong to this fraternal order, and then they have other organizations that they belong to. I think we were talking the other day about the Fraternal Order Police and how they linked into the Masons. These people got organizations, man, that they're constantly paying dues to, and they have money set up for. And they could persuade the vast majority of the thinking of white people by using the media, because they got their Masonic brothers all up in with the alphabet boys. So it's nothing for them to put $400,000 together. All right, good brother. We really appreciate this. Professor Griff, Zaza Ali from Enemy Minds Radio. Peace on Sonetta TV.
Peace.